Golden Spiral Media presents The Blacklist Exposed.
Well, we perform a hat trick of our own on this episode of the award-winning The Blacklist Exposed podcast. Greetings, one and all. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I am Agent Aaron Peterson, and guess what? Charlene lives! She lives! She didn't move out or into the neighbor's house, so that's good to know. And I hope Red's getting frequent flyer miles for all these trips to Cuba. Thanks for joining us yet again on this episode of The Blacklist for the final season as we break down 3 episodes at once. Like Troy said and alluded to, this is very much a hat trick of our own. We're going to talk about the Nowhere Bride, the hat trick, and the act, first of our endgame episodes in Blair Foster. Now, I want to point out, if you're listening, you're like, why are you doing 3 episodes at once? It's because it was on Memorial Day week. It's a holiday week. We had plans. It just wasn't going to work out. So we're going to do this episode a lot different than we do our normal episodes. So don't judge us based on this episode if it's the only one you've ever listened to. We normally have a very, very structured look at things. But because we're covering 3 episodes, we're only hitting the big things that mattered to us. And I'm sure we'll miss something because we're talking about 3 freaking episodes. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
And it wasn't so much that NBC was, or that it was Memorial Day week, but it was that NBC actually aired 3 episodes in 4 days. I feel like we're the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Playing.
If it would have been 1 episode, we could have knocked that out. But the fact that it was 3, it's like, well, that is taking a lot of time from stuff we need to get done. I got a lot going on in the work environment. We both had a lot of family stuff going on, so this is what it is.
Congratulations are in order for you. Work environment wise.
Thank you. I just got promoted.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Good thing. Good thing Blacklist is coming to an end.
Because Aaron's not going to have much time left.
I'm not going to have as much time, that's for sure. So thanks. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's actually start on Monday.
Nice.
When you listen to this, it's a couple days, and I'll be transferring to a new, a much more prominent role.
Right, which is why Chuck will be here next week, because Aaron has to travel, pre-travel, because then Aaron and I are actually going to be on a boat. It was nice for NBC to give us the week off.
Dude, that was really cool of them, right?
Really
they knew
nice.
We were going to be on vacation together, and they said, hey, no episode that week. And I'm just saying that it's the only week they took a break. Just saying.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
It's the best gift we could have gotten in 10 years.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Oh, man. I don't even know how we're going to do this. It's so different, right? But I guess we'll start with the profiling question because we did have one last time.
I'll be honest, Troy. I like this. I like just going nuts and not really having a profile. And somehow we're going to knock out 3 episodes in probably the same time as we normally knock out 1. And we're just going to be ashamed of ourselves for not doing it faster and better on other episodes. But hey. It's all about the banter.
The banter.
And, yeah, there you go.
And people were bantering, right? They were bantering about whether or not Red was dying or retiring.
Yes, and oh wow, segue. Hello. So our profiling question of the last episode was: is Red dying or retiring? 72% said dying. 28% said retiring. What do you think? Do you have it? Because we've got these 3 episodes, and it definitely got talked about in the Blair Foster episode.
Yeah, and I would say that it was also prevalent with the standing in front of the bus, going like, "Ooh, play chicken. This is fun." See a penny, what is it? See a penny, pick it up all day long. You'll get hit by a bus.
Yeah. There were a lot of good one-liners here. I wish I would have gotten them all, but there were a lot of good one-liners here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it seemed like he really was either playing chicken or committing suicide or something in that moment. So I would say that based on the conversation with him and Dembe at the end of the 1 episode, he's like, Dembe, it's fine. I'm fine. I'm like, liar.
Well, how do you know he's lying? So you definitely think he's dying.
Criminals are notorious liars, Aaron.
Yeah. Fair enough. So you definitely, and I'm sorry, it was on the other episode. It was the hat trick episode. Yeah. That's where they had the discussion. I'm sorry. See, there's 3 of them. I got them all confused. Yeah, I liked, by the way, that was a lovely moment. And they had a couple, they had another one, I think, in the next episode where they sat down and talked.
They're talking about their exploits in Cuba and Manny
and all that.
Yeah.
So that's why I got them confused. But it was nice to have them back together, and it's definitely the show saying, yeah, we've missed them being together too. We know you have, so here's a context that we can put together. But I do like Dembe directly asking him, because he would just say, hey, is everything okay? Are you going to be okay? And he does. And that's the audience asking too, because we want to know, are you dying or retiring? And he's just trying to, how did you take that conversation? I took it to basically, he's assessing his mortality. Agnes is taken care of. He also wants to contribute to these charities and leave some kind of legacy. Do you see some kind of end game? I would assume there's a big red end game here, or a rend game, if you will.
That one doesn't work so much. Good try though. I think that at the end,
if I keep using it, it works.
It works. I think at the end of the day, Brad has been contemplating his past mistakes, past hubris, if you will, and trying to just do better, different, because he knows he can't do this forever. So why not make sure that the people he can take care of, he takes care of?
I feel like we're already in the episode, so let's ask our next profiling question. Do you feel Hudson is an honest politician? Oh my! Yeah,
we had some old stuff in season 6 where they weren't so on the up and up.
Mm-hmm.
Could there be a possibility that we might actually have decent people in DC?
Let's get into it.
Since some stories are best discovered rather than told, let's go ahead and get into this week's case profile.
How much are you reading into that first episode? How much? 90%? 80%?
I don't have to read into it. It was written.
Well, I know. I'm just saying, because whenever you bring up the concept of a red being, Liz's mother, who has transitioned, people freak out. Or they're on board. And you still see the fights happening in Facebook and Reddit and everything else. And I've seen all kinds of arguments about how a man wouldn't do this and a man wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, and he's not a man. I'm like, what? Yeah, he is. I just, like, there's so many arguments that just feel a little dated.
Well, and in this line in particular, old. I don't even think it has anything to do with mother, imposter, or whatever. It was literally just one of those things, like, people are like, go back to Lost. And people are like, there were no answers. And I was like, there are answers if you were looking for them. And Aaron and I will fight that battle probably until we're 80 and 90 years old.
My argument was that wasn't the whole show.
Right.
I'm just saying, but that's a whole podcast we ain't got time for.
But this is the writers, coming out in a way to break the fourth wall to say, hey, we're not going to tell you everything.
Yeah, I mean, they even have Sia's story is very much kind of alluding, tying into it in some way so that we can get that. I understand a parent doing everything to protect their child, that whole angle. If some people have that argument that somebody wouldn't transition just to hide their child, and I agree with that. I made that argument myself on this podcast numerous times. And I also, once they started painting the canvas, filling in the gaps of how this is who Katerina always felt she was inside, then it all came together, and okay, so it all works in that context. It just had to work in a certain context. It had to be more than just, I'm doing it to protect my child. It has to be, it does both things. This is who I've always felt like, and also this will also save my daughter.
And I love that he used parent in that moment, because it's like the show's still being consistent. I think that's really the big thing, because time parent was used in the past, it was the whole lexical ambiguity, and could it be father, could it be mother, could it be adopted father, adopted mother, blah, 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 blah. The fact that they're still on that track, they're basically telling you, it's like, hey, even though you probably think an answer, because we probably maybe gave it to you in season 8, we're still going to keep telling you parent, so that the people that are still fighting about it and arguing about it and talking about it keep the show in the zeitgeist up until the end.
And I just want to know, Amir has said it. Multiple people on the show have said it. John Bokenkamp, who created the show, have said it, that the answer was given in season 8 if you're open to it. So it's not that we're discounting other people. There has been nothing to contradict that since that happened. There's been nothing. If anything, they've reinforced it throughout the show. So that's why we don't sit here and, well, could he be
an alien from the third?
Ilya. Well, no, I don't mean like that. But could he be a real father? No, it was already proven that it wasn't. Could it be that he's the real Raymond Reddington? No, it already proven because he wasn't. Could it be Jennifer is his daughter? No, it's already been proven that she wasn't. So like all this stuff that people are still talking about has already been shown in the show. Go back and rewatch the whole series if you need to. I mean, and I get it's easy to miss a lot of this stuff, especially if you're just watching it for the fun of it. But it's there.
And then
that episode in particular, the Nowhere Bride brought where you get that whole, more of Sia's story and stuff, and you get Red alluding to that.
What did you think of that story? Sia's story.
I don't need it. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't need it. God, Troy, this is the trick, right? I enjoy, for what they are, I enjoy all 3 episodes. I don't have a problem with the episodes. I have a problem with, I want a blacklister. I liked that construct of the show, and none of these really felt like NCIS foes. Nobody, maybe Blair Foster is approaching this. Maybe Blair Foster's coming close to that. And I get they're kind of building it into the show. On the same token, you've got blacklist numbers. I mean, and they're not really blacklisters in any way, shape, or form. They're just standard TV network villains. And the show has always given us cooler villains, which is what I love. One of the things I loved about the show, right? So it's not that I dislike the episodes. I don't like this particular path that we're on. I like the Wu Jing path. I think we ended it too early, and now it feels rather generic. I hope the end game, or Rend game, if you will, is a little more layered in Blacklisters. Am I off?
No, and I think the Nowhere Bride episode specifically, it's really talking about, brides, daughters, right? Mm-hmm. And the money that's tied to them and what their inheritance would be, and people stealing that inheritance and dowries and all that stuff. I mean, it is literally written to give subtext because there's no other reason for that episode to exist other than to give subtext to say, hey, this is about parents and the bad choices their kids make, and the fact that she married Tom, and the fact that Red was from a distance, and Red was going to give the entire thing to Liz, and it's literally like hey, here's another hint. we got to fill this hour. People still talking about it. Like, here's another hint.
I will say, because John Eisendrath said if he could, he would just say it out loud if the network will allow him to, but he didn't know if they would. Right? It's a hot button time.
Because he's probably sitting there in his office going like, how do people not see it after 10 years?
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a part of that. So I've seen numerous episodes this season where they've done this, where it feels like they're going directly at, look, if we can't say it directly, we're going to paint the picture as clearly as we can of what we're trying to allude to.
Right.
So you get where Red is coming from. Like, this is connected to Red in a different way. So yes, it's a blacklister for a different reason. It's more personal to him because of what he did in the past.
Yeah, and
that's what I take from
it. And it's why Blair Foster's number was as high as it was at 39, jumping up a little bit from where we've been in the 190s for most of the season, because obviously the task force is important to him. So therefore, Blair's going to be the one that's going to be part of the group that takes this task force down. She's going to get the higher number out of everybody.
I liked Blair Foster by the end. At the beginning, I thought, oh, here's another one. Here's another one of these network generic villains. But no, she was really good. Like, she's smarmy. We haven't had one of that caliber in a while where I just want to throw her off a bridge. We need that in the show. We need somebody who want to toss off a bridge now and again.
Well, and we always talk about on our other show, The Hollywood Outsider, HollywoodOutsider.com, that a good villain is one where you as the audience can get behind the villain and understand their motives. And by the end of that episode, I'm like, wow, Blair helped out Red in the task force by getting rid of Dorf. And then, but also now is maneuvering her own game in order to get back in with Hudson. So like that type of craftiness that gets me intrigued and wakes up in the morning, like almost like she should have been Maybe number 2 because she's the one driving the show rather than Hudson at the end of the day.
We should talk about, there is a number 2 open.
There is.
And the titles have leaked.
But the numbers have not.
The numbers have not, but I hope somebody on there's a number 2 because we can't end the series without number 2, right? You just can't. Who does number 2 work for?
And that'll be the only thing the show's remembered for if they don't fill in the slot. I'm sure Hudson will be number 2 because Hudson's literally taking down the task force. I mean, that would be the next biggest thing that would impact Red's existence and world.
Or Red Reddington himself.
But someone was talking about Reddington's going to be 00 or something for his
00.
Yeah,
that's not a real number.
Well, yeah, he wouldn't put a blacklist. He wouldn't put himself on the blacklist.
He might.
He is the blacklist.
He might if he's got a death wish.
Maybe
he realizes he's the hindrance to the task force himself, which it would be weird since he is the reason the task force exists.
It's also the reason why we all exist. At least in relation to the show.
I had a good life before the show started. I'm just saying.
I don't even remember what I was doing 10 years ago.
Preparing for this, preparing mentally, and doing all kinds of stretching in your mind
for 5 years. We did a plan for a decade.
My God, and we did get to Cuba, so we saw Weecha again.
Yeah, what do you think about Weecha? This is twice now we've seen her. I guess
I'm confused because he was he was kind of with both of them, right? Her and her sister.
I guess, yeah.
But wasn't he more with the sister?
Yeah, that's what I always gathered.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't dislike. I like having something that Red looks forward to because he's been kind of isolated and distant the whole season. I don't know if it's the story arc we need right now, but I don't know where it's going. Maybe it ends up being somewhere interesting.
Do you feel like the 2 appearances were out of order? Like we should have gotten hey, if you run into Weecha, let her know I was looking for her. And then remember a couple episodes ago is when we actually...
Oh, yeah, kind of. But you can look at it as he got a little taste, I guess. It's just a bad pun. I didn't mean it as a pun. It just happens to be a pun. It's a coincidence. And then he just wants to go back because now he's kind of a little obsessed, lonely, all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could play it in I didn't know she was in Cuba, and so he was surprised to see her in that previous episode.
No, he knew she was there. No, he knew she was there. He knew it. I think he knew it. She basically said you came all this way for something silly, and he just wanted to see her. That's it. That's the whole reason he came.
But in this episode, it makes it seem like he didn't. Like, if you happen to see her, it's like you just saw her like a week ago.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It just felt a little weird. I don't know.
There was 2 episodes later.
Yeah.
So it just happened on the same night, so it feels like the same episode. I get it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's good to have Red pining for someone. I just don't know where this is going. If it goes nowhere, then I'll probably be, pretty bummed. I mean, at least the Anne storyline went somewhere.
I'm almost
interesting
because they showed her twice now. I'm hoping that she's somehow involved, maybe in the finale at some way.
It gotta be
because she's at this point. She's all like, "What am I going to do with this man?"
Maybe she takes the money, the business, or something.
Maybe.
I mean, could be. I don't know if it's a character that's really earned it this far, but because you'd want it to go to Dembe, but he wouldn't take it. I guess there's really nobody else. Yeah, really don't have any. They've killed everybody else that would have taken it, right?
Yeah, and she's at least got the ability to be the badass face and the badass gunplay. Sure. And
God, I wish Glenn was still around.
Oh, I miss Glenn.
If he was around, just think if he got the business at the end, he got all of the empire. He would be such a dick boss.
Right.
Oh God, that would be so fun to watch. I would watch the hell out of that.
He'd be like, "Hey, I trade information for money." It's like, who loves you, baby?
Well, let's touch on some of the characters here. So Hudson, I mean, Red seems very impressed that Hudson seems like a very good guy.
Stand-up guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was following that Abby Ryder because he put her parents in jail when he was a assistant attorney.
Something like that. That's usually
Attorney General. Sorry. And then he kept an eye on her and made sure she had what she needed and helped her get through life, and then hired an investigator to find her because he was concerned about her. So he's a good guy. By all accounts, it seems like he's a good guy. So for once we have a politician, I'm sure there's some that exist in our current government, I just haven't found them, that is an honest dude.
I mean,
what do you think? Seems honest. Until he gets in with Blair Foster and she corrupts him.
Also kind of creepy because you're like, well, I put your parents away, so now I'm going to take care of you, little girl.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue. That's weird. It's definitely weird.
Weird.
And at least he has some humanity. I mean, it'd be different if he was trying to date her or something weird.
I mean,
but he's just looking after for her from afar. So
most people would be like that. I wonder what happened to that so-and-so. No, this guy hires a private investigator to go hunt her down.
That's where it turns corner into creepy.
Yeah. Stalkery.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's an honest dude, but he's weird.
Yeah.
Great. Now I can't like him either. Bitch.
He is a politician after all.
He is. I like the character. I like the earnestness. I think you need that in the show because but he's going to have some moral flexibility, or why are you in the blacklist? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't have any angels here.
Well,
nobody stays an angel for long.
We almost had an angel and then found out that it was actually a corporation and not an angel.
True. Look at that. Another segue. So was it the Angels of Mercy and all that jive and the potassium, and it ends up being broken down by Colbeck Medical Systems. Is that right?
Yes.
They were in business for 20 years and they had an accident. So basically we have, if you think about it, 2 cases in a row where it's just companies that went bad. Like they company cover-ups, right? Isn't that
exactly what it was? Yep. The Blair Foster thing was a company cover-up as well.
So back-to-back company cover-ups. Not really a blacklister. That's my point. That's my only point. I want blacklisters. That's all.
Yeah, I want guys to take off their nose and drink mushroom shakes like in season 1.
And the hat trick, no number. We're getting a little loose with these rules, man. The numbers used to always said, like, no numbers meant, wow, deep mythology or deep something like that. This is not the case. It's not the case anymore.
Yeah, this
season has, I mean, granted, they did say it'll be a new show once they started season 9. But because they said, a lot of the mythology was handled fine, understood. On the same token, I mean, the show has established rules for a long time. So it's weird that we're just kind of, we got a number. We don't got a number. We're not really a blacklister, but they get a number. I mean, we're just kind of like all over the place in this.
I mean, we've done the Pavlovich brothers and some other, like, 4 people at once where we literally did 126 through 130 or whatever. So it's like they could have just thrown the 3 numbers up for the hat trick. Just been like, maybe there's a budget on title card sequences.
No, you know what I think it is? This is an opinion. I don't have any facts to back this up. What I think it is they have more than 200 episodes. They only have so many numbers. And because if you've ever seen the shirts that Anthony Pepe did and the advertisement and stuff like that, it's always gone up to 200, the numbers.
You're right.
And I think they've got enough numbers to fill in all the 200, but they're going to have extra. So I think they're using those for ones that don't really need the number.
That's actually counted those empty spaces up, and there was more than 22, so they could have had a number for every episode this season.
Son of a bitch! Why do I have theories? Why? I don't even know why.
It's my sole purpose in life to crush them and squash them in their
apparently. It was a good theory, and I liked it, and you ruined it, and you shit all over it. So
well, the reason why I think that they went no number is because at the end of the day, the 3 blacklisters, quote unquote, weren't the blacklister. It was actually the fact that they wanted to get them off the board of that foundation, that charity. So really the charity is the thing that's actually close to red, not the 3 board members specifically.
Sure, yeah.
So they didn't want to give it away by telling you what the twist was in the episode. Which I thought was actually a cool twist on how they finally put it all together.
Which part?
Where they said, oh, look, that person, they're all in this picture together. Oh, they're on the board of this company. I mean, that actually made that saved the episode for me because then it did a matter of like, it's as important to Red. So I loved Diego's line and their wrestler's line when he was like, oh, so we're just Red's errand boys again. I was like, yep. When'd you ever stop, Donald? When'd you ever stop?
He hasn't stopped. Speaking of Donald, let's segue into Donald.
The plant is back.
The plant is back, and we talked about it earlier in the season, right? If this guy shows up again, he's obviously bad. So he's bad.
Because we got him in 2 episodes back to back.
Yeah. Sorry. You got me. He was off the books, and I'm like, all right, I guess he's not. Nope. The NA buddy is back, and yep, he's got to be a plant. What was his name?
I don't know. His wife's name was Jill, I think.
Yeah, his wife. Yeah, maybe his name's Jack. I can't remember. But yeah, he's definitely a plant.
That was funny.
He's got to be a plant, and I'm sure he went up a hill. Yeah,
his name's Ficus.
He's thirsty. Try to get a pail of water. So interesting. We'll see what happens with that. I feel like more is coming with his.
There's got to be something with that guy
because he's sponsoring this guy, and this guy just keeps coming back, and he's way too peppy. I don't like it. Mm-mm. Hudson, at least, he's, I feel his earnestness. This guy, don't like him.
Oh yeah, he's like storming down Dorf's office, and he's like, "What happened? What's going on? I thought we were getting pizza afterwards."
So, who do you think he works for? Who do you think? Who's number 2 work for? Who do you think this guy works for?
The plant?
Yeah, if he's a plant, hypothetically, theoretically.
I mean, it seems like it's just there to drive character motivation for Wrestler to fill in time at this point. Like Wrestler's a good person who can like guide other people. Maybe Wrestler's going to take over the task force. Maybe Wrestler's going to take over the blacklist. I don't know, but it seems like they're setting up Wrestler's a good leader. That seems what this whole story is about.
His name's Jonathan, by the way.
Jonathan
Pritchard. Kills my Jack and Jill joke, but I don't care.
Sometimes Johns are called Jacks, though.
Bam. Joke reinstated.
Actually worked with a guy that was that way.
Really?
Yeah.
How weird is that? Your name's Jonathan. Call me Jack. Why?
Because I said so.
Why? Well, call me Steve then. My name's Aaron. Call me Steve. Why? Because I said so. It's weird. People get weird about that stuff.
Just don't call him Steve Homan because you'll be on the hook for a very large pledge.
Oh, look at this. This guy is Segway King. You can get a little hat. Sorry. Sorry about that bleep. The charity. I like the charity. I like this idea. I like that he's willing to, he knows that Agnes is taken care of. He's got enough money. I mean, leave Cooper some money. He's taking care of her, but whatever. And also Agnes will probably, she'll have a dowry. Another connection to the first episode. So, what do you think about this charity introduction that he's trying to save the world, leave a little legacy out there?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like one of those things like you can't fight all the battles. And I think at this point, Red has been fighting so many battles for so many years. And now he's worried about, well, I can't fight all the battles in the future. So how do I fight all the battles in the future? So it feels like it's still a little bit hubris in the fact that I can use my money to better the society in that way because I have so much of it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I really like the generosity angle to say like, hey, I did all this bad work for so many years, things I didn't even want to do based on what I was trained to do by Dom. And now here's my way that I can say, hey, all of this shit was actually, good for something at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Oh, let's see here. Panna Baker, poor Panna Baker. She put her neck out for this task force, and now it's coming to bite her in the ass. So and I got to say, I'm with her on this one. Cooper should have told her all the data was wiped.
Oh, yeah. She was hot.
Yeah. I mean, she is hot, but also she was hot. She very much, I'm sorry, that was lewd. So she very much,
grits.
She should have known going into that meeting what was going on, so she could play it however she needed to play.
Totally.
She's a politician. She can steer that way. He should have told her that's where Cooper was wrong. I know we think Cooper's infallible, but wrong. This was a mistake on his part. She put her neck out for the task force. He should have respected that.
But then at the same time, Panna Baker comes back in the next episode and is like, man, how did you get Dorf? You got to tell him the story on this one. And Cooper's like, blackmail.
Hey, at least he's honest, finally.
When has Cooper not been honest?
With her, he didn't tell her. We've had this discussion. Omitting is still lying. He lied to her.
I was like, we walked right into that one.
Damn it. Omitting is still lying. Yeah, Clayton's gone. Clayton's out of there.
Yeah.
Because they went through all that.
It's a shame. I like Dorf. Dorf is a cool name.
Yeah, I like Dorf on Golf. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Tim Conway. I always liked those videos. I liked him because he was definitely a sleazy politician.
Yeah.
You know, any good actor, really, really engaging, really knew how to kind of fire us up, the audience, because you hate him almost instantly. You like him at first when you first meet him. He's trying to eat lunch and this guy's bothering him, but then you really start to come around like, okay, I dig the smarminess of this guy. Like he feels like every politician I see in Congress these days. So on both sides of the aisle, pick your side. They're all the same.
Yeah, he's trying to grease deals and everything, literally with his Atkins diet.
That's funny. Mean, but funny. Yeah, but Hudson's still in the game. He's still in the game. And also, he is going to meet with Blair Foster, even though they do things differently. They're going to hook up at the end. Not hook up, but hook up. Get together.
I do like Blair, though. She is crafty.
I like her a lot. I think this could be a good big bad. There's always something about lawyers that work the system. I mean, it's kind of like Saul and Breaking Bad. There's just there's something about lawyers that can work the system and behind the curtain that are actually evil almost, but they know how to work a room, work a system, and that's what she's doing.
Yeah, she's all like,
I mean, she just maneuvered right out of that.
give me a deal. We know this isn't going to go to trial. You know, are we really going to play games, Donald? By the way, you're cute. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Offered him a congressman job. How about that?
Yeah. Congressman wrestler. Doesn't sound quite right.
No, but I could see it. He's good looking, very clean cut. Hair doesn't move. Sure. Starts earnest, gets corrupted.
Yeah.
Gets corrupted. Doesn't realize he's corrupted.
Good old boy from Detroit.
Sounds very like Hudson. Hudson's about to be corrupted. Thought he couldn't be.
So it's interesting you mentioned lawyer and that she could be a good big bad. Didn't we have a big bad that was a lawyer like last season?
Yeah, but that was Red's lawyer. This is a different lawyer.
So you're okay, it's a different lawyer, even though it's like the same concept. Let's make a lawyer a big bad.
No, it's early. I don't know if she's going to be the big bad, but I think she'll be. I don't want her to be Marvin Gerard level. I just want her to be like somebody who's been maneuvering all the blacklisters that we see.
Like
I think she'd be a good background manipulator.
Like Anna McMahon bad.
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Let's see what happens. Dembe doesn't do a whole lot, but he does get some cool moments with Red, which we talked about. Love those. We need more of those. Definitely got to have closure between Dembe and Red before the season's over. And I'm always happy to see him. I wish he was in more stuff.
Yeah, I really like
more scenes.
When him and Sia were working together. I thought that was fun when they were going after the embryo company.
Yeah.
And
they help each other well.
Which that line from Sia in that exact scene with the son who backdoored into his dad's company to kill his stepmom's babies because he worked too hard, and she's like, "You're lucky that I'm here instead of my mother, because she would have stepped all over you."
There's a lot of stuff.
A little bit of emphasis there.
Yeah, we're gonna hear more of Sia.
Yeah,
her whole quest for her real mom is gonna take over.
It's over. We finished it.
No, I think there'll be more. It just felt like too quick, but maybe we'll see. But it was we did get the resolution that now she knows that she was basically picked off. That was that in that episode, or was it in last week?
That was Nowhere Bride.
Okay, yeah. Doing 3 at once, man, it's really complicated. I don't know where we're at. Seeing her come to the realization that she was basically part of a sex trafficking ring or a child ring, then her mother saved her from that and kept her protected, and that's what this a-hole tried to use against her, which makes him a bigger dick than I thought he was to begin with. But,
right.
It's very noble. I still think it doesn't line up with the character at all from season 1, but at this point, I'm letting it slide.
I thought Meera was pretty badass though in season 1.
Not that. Definitely badass. You heard no mention of this child.
Well, we heard about her kids, right? Her kids were a certain age. That's where everybody's
I think when she mentioned them, they were like 9 and 11 or something. I don't know. I have to go back, and I don't want to right now. So.
This is being honest.
Yeah,
more than Dorf was.
Yeah, just saying.
I'm quitting because I got some goods on me.
If you know what's good for you,
don't ask any
out.
questions.
Get out. You're right. It does seem like the whole Sia thing is done.
Hopefully
she can accept it.
Which is weird, right? So we had the Wu Jing thing and the Sia thing were the two big selling points for season 10. Mm-hmm. It's like now those are wrapped up. It's what do you do for 6 more episodes?
6 more episodes, I feel like, has to be setting up the end.
Has to be.
And I'm sure it is. I mean, like I said, I feel like even though these haven't been blacklisted like I want, me personally, I do feel like these are all connected to Red and his end game, his Rend game. That's 3. It sticks.
It's a hat trick.
Thank you. And I think we're getting closer. So Herbie, fun addition. Still don't understand how he's on the task force, but he's fun when he's there. So I like him. There you go. I've accepted Herbie. How's that?
Well, you have to because Ram's not there.
I know. I do miss Ram a lot. I do.
But it's these points in the show where some shows like Grey's Anatomy, where they bring in new characters and it seems to keep going and it actually still works. And then they bring in new characters on Blacklist and it's like, yeah, not so much. Like I like Herbie as a character. I like Herbie as a person, but Herbie there 10 years and Herbie there 1 year. It just reminds me that Ram's not there. And I think that's where the show falters.
It's not the show's fault, though. If Amir wanted to go on and do other things, they had to.
Totally. I get it.
Out. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be like, it'd be like in Alias, right? Marshall. If someone else would have been Marshall instead of Marshall, like it wouldn't have been the same.
Sure.
Because Marshall was just so iconic at that time.
And Alias ended at 5 years.
Yeah.
Made it easier for Marshall to stay.
That's where this should have ended was 5 years. Would have been perfect.
I think this was a perfect 6-year show.
Perfect 6-year show. That's exactly what we always said.
Yep. Perfect 6-year show.
They got to death row and it was like, well, we got to do this for 4 more years. What do we have her say? I love you.
He's still mad.
Still mad.
Cooper got a little shady here. I was impressed. He gets dirty when he can.
Especially around politicians.
Yeah,
just like
he doesn't like politicians.
Like old President Diaz when he went toe-to-toe with Diaz.
And I think that's really the biggest stuff with Cooper. And then we're back to Red. Red's, he's going to Cuba, depending on where he's from.
A couple times. Seeing Manny, giving us some boxing gloves.
Manny. Always like Manny. I'm a big Dexter fan. Always like seeing him. He's on a journey. And he's fine. He's fine. Everything is fine. I'm fine.
Well, and all I'm picturing is Red in a fedora sitting there with the fire background from that one meme on the internet with the dog.
Yeah.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
And I do like very much the pleasant surprise moment where Red, you could tell Red respected that Hudson was a good man, even if he's hiring investigators to follow a young woman around. That part's
which goes from the hat trick episode into the following episode where he's telling Cooper like, hey, we should just let it be. Let him do his investigation. Why are we even worrying about this? Like, just let it go. He's basically telling Cooper like he's a good guy. He's not going to find anything.
Mm-hmm.
So at least there's some serialized kind of feel to the show, which is good, even if the episodes have been.
Oh yeah, it's still that part's still there.
Loose,
and maybe it'll, like I said, I've really started to finally see the connection. It's just mostly the episodes are basically a backdrop for whatever Red's going through, not really a benefit to him specifically, just more of a backdrop connecting to his part of the journey.
I think the thing that we're missing the most out of this show is scenes like the one he had with Sia, where he's talking about the past. Yeah. With the scene he has with Dembe, where he's talking about how he's, like those are what make the show. That's where you get the juice, the meat, the good, the mythology. Like those are the things that have been missing over the last, maybe 6 or so episodes. Like it's good to see a couple of those back to back this week.
Yeah, where he's connecting some dots by telling a long sordid story. The red herrings, if you will. Write that down. Get that on a t-shirt.
No, just no.
All right, that's about all I have. I know how far a parent will go to protect their child. Just saying.
Just saying, and we know that one parent is dead.
Just saying. Yep, proven
in
the show. Proven
DNA on the bones, and then literally showed to us verbatim in the season 8.
Yeah,
Nachalo backstory.
Dead. Okay. Well, that's what I've got. Time to move on. Tell her stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? We got to do the part that keeps the show on the air.
Absolutely. Want to take a quick second to say thank you to all of you that are supporting the show by going to Patreon. That's Patreon, patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Special big thanks to our honorary blacklister, Patricia. Also a special shout out to our task force members, Judy, Sharon C., Richard, Rory, Catherine, Jen, Cheryl, James, Justin, Cindy, Ryan, Johnny, Lacey Ann, Emily, Jacob, and Sharon B. All official task force members. All those people receive cool gifts from us, and you can get a cool gift as well for donating at the $20 level or higher. If you want a cool t-shirt or a coffee mug, which you know you do, come on. Time's running out. We've only got 6 episodes left. Throw it in the coffers. Let's go. If you don't have to stay at the $20 level forever, just a little bit to get the cool gifts.
And $5 patrons, of course, get the episode before anyone else. So if you want to know all the details and all the intel, just throw $5 in the hat over at Patreon. That's patreon.com/theblacklistgsm. Fill the fedora, hit the $sign in your podcast app. We got thoughts from the community coming up right after this.
What if you could live your life without limits, where every desire you ever imagined could be fulfilled? Experience Westworld, a show where every human's dark side will be revealed. After watching each episode, listen to Beyond Westworld, a podcast featuring humans and hosts from around the park, diving deep into HBO's illustrative narrative. Every hero has a code, and so do you. Download your itinerary and the show at beyondwestworldpodcast.com or your podcast app of choice.
Okay, Special Agent Intel, it's time. So, and we should mention the Hollywood Outsider that we do. We just did a summer TV episode.
Yes.
Some of the best TV coming out this summer and the movies that are coming out this summer. We did an episode for each one of those. You go find it, the Hollywood Outsider. Troy and I talked about a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff. There's so much content.
So much content. All right, Tracy Fatal?
Sure.
She said, just saw my brother-in-law on tonight's episode. He played the bus driver. Can't wait to hear about his time with Spader. That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And he also got a big chunk of money.
Did you know that he was... She makes it sound like she didn't know he was going to be on there. Like, let's talk at Christmas, you know?
Let us know, Tracy. Did you know ahead of time or did you not know ahead of time?
Yeah. Because if you didn't know, your brother-in-law's a dick. If you didn't know, good guy.
Gary Jordan over on Facebook also said, Dembe said that it was gross that Herbie got a print off the bottom of the toilet seat.
It was.
Which Herbie responded with a comment about changing a diaper. Personally, for Gary, I'd rather have baby poo smeared all over me from head to toe than to have the drop of an adult's pee on my finger, in my opinion. Babies are much cleaner than adults, even their poo.
Oh, sidebar. So, I'm a germaphobe. Both of those sound awful. Number one, I'm just letting you know they sound like a personal nightmare. But I would agree. Another adult's pee over my baby's poo, I will take the poo not every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
It's funny.
Weird.
No. I think it's partly true because I feel the same way about dogs. Like dogs have accidents in your house. You know, they get old and it happens. Yeah. I'd much rather have the dog shit in my house than pee in my house because the pee just smells and stays and
it gets in the floorboards.
Yeah. Like the poo is so much easier to clean up. However, like I don't know if Gary, if you had kids or not, but there are some of those, the smell just never goes away from a baby.
Yeah, it's like a cat.
Yeah. That's why the babies...
Why does your baby smell like a cat? Ugh.
Yeah. You love that smell when you smell the baby's head after they take a bath and then they literally just blow out the diaper like an hour later and you're like, damn it. Yeah. One drop of pee does not equate a blowout diaper. I will wash my hands very quickly with an adult drop of pee.
I've never sniffed a baby, but I've seen people do it. And I've always just thought, if you could see yourself currently, would you still do it? Because it's a weird look. Thanks for that. I appreciate the interesting comment. That's awesome. A Japanese Harvey Midnight on Reddit shared a new show to watch when this is all done. A Japanese Blacklist ? In addition to being a Blacklist fan, I'm also an avid viewer of anime as well as some Japanese television. Sadly, one of my favorites, Midnight Diner, live action show based on a manga, has just left Netflix. What a beautiful, pleasant show. I'll miss it.
I watched a couple episodes. It's actually really good.
I believe it. But tonight I was looking for something new, and I found a Netflix show, Japanese with subtitles, called Invisible, that has a lot of similar aspects to The Blacklist. Invisible is a mysterious woman who may or may not be a high-ranking criminal mastermind who has suddenly decided to reveal herself to the police, let herself be captured, but she's offered to work only with a specific detective to help him resolve numerous cold cases and provide intel on criminals whose existence the police don't even know about in exchange for immunity. Doesn't sound similar, sounds exactly the same.
Even
cool.
Even stars a woman. Okay, that one I read into.
Oh my God. The action, the melodrama, heck, even a few comical interactions between cops and criminals are all on par with Blacklist. Hey, I liked the first episode, so I thought I'd share. So that is called Invisible, and it's a Japanese. It's probably a Japanese ripoff of Blacklist.
That's usually how it goes sometimes in those markets.
We do it too. We do it, Hollywood does it too.
We did The Returned on A&E was the ripoff of the French Les Revenants.
Absolutely.
Which was so much better, the French version. So good. And then Mashawn95032 on Reddit said, Blair Foster's comparison with a past Blacklister and my speculation about Blair's true season 10 purpose significance.
Let's do it.
Foster feels very similar to Annie McMahon, Blacklister number 60, in multiple ways. One is a long-haired Caucasian lady. Thanks for these obvious.
Yeah.
2 has aligned herself with a U.S. politician. In Anna's case, it was with Diaz. In Foster's case, it's now Hudson. 3 is incredibly sneaky, corrupt in her day-to-day dealings with others. And 4 is smart, competitive, ruthless enough to act as a rival of Red, while also embodying the behind every great man, there is a great woman archetype. Could say so many things about that, but I won't read into it. And on separate but related note...
Like, would one be how it's archetype?
Maybe.
Okay.
And on separate but related note, season 10's Four Guns episode deliberately went out of its way to remind the audience, hey, you guys still remember President Diaz?
It's true. Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if Hudson and Foster's subplot and newfound alliance is meant to somehow foreshadow, culminate into a rematch between freed from prison Diaz and Red.
Oh, that would be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Bring Diaz back into the fold.
I mean, the back half of season 6 wasn't one of my favorites, but...
Yeah, I don't need Diaz back in this game, but I could see it. I mean, he was a powerful guy, and I'm sure he'd want to go after Red as soon as he got out of prison. So maybe that would be a fun, at least an episode.
It'd be like a what? Little bit of a surprise twist for a pretty by the book season so far.
I still think we should have had so many cool Blacklisters come back.
So many cool ones.
Yeah. What will be, will be.
So,
that will conclude this discussion. So now's the time to recommend the Blacklist to your friend, your enemy, or your neighbor. And when you do, please also recommend they listen and subscribe to the Blacklist Exposed podcast. All the case profiles can be found at theblacklistexposed.com and everywhere great podcasts can be heard.
For more great Aaron and Troy hijinks, follow us on your favorite social media outlets. I'm at Troy Heinrichs. He's at Aaron Smirks. Together we are at The Blacklist GSM. Let us know what you thought about us covering 3 eps at once. Did you like this? Did you not like this? Was this like the weirdest thing you've ever listened to in your entire life?
It's funny.
We love the feedback. Yeah. We love the feedback.
Absolutely. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Do you feel Hudson is an honest politician? Hit us up on the socials. The Facebook group, The Blacklist Exposed, or we're on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM. Let us know there.
Yeah.
And that's it.
No politicians are honest. Lie is literally in the word politician. Just without the E.
So just making up facts again. All right. I got to go. I got a job thing. You take care, guys.
We'll see you later. Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs. That's at Troy Heinrichs on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsiders.com or on Twitter at 5popcorn. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production, Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.